Hi, everyone, and hi to everyone watching online. August 25th, 2005 is one of those days I will never forget. I was living in New Orleans, and everything that I took for granted just was gone in a flash. It was a year where my grandparents, friends, neighbors all lost their homes and their livelihoods from the flooding caused by Katrina. There were so many people trapped on their rooftops, unable to call for help, because 2 million phone lines were out of service. And months later, it was still chaotic, and people were still displaced, including myself. Katrina wasn't a one-off. Disasters have been happening, but they've been happening more frequently and more severe. Even, in fact, last week, we had heavy rain, and we got so many warnings of a flash flood. When would be the next one? There are so many problems around disasters and disaster preparedness, and there are so many ways of tackling these issues. One of the things that I'm tackling is connectivity and communication. In a moment of a crisis, people do not know what's going on. They have no idea where their loved ones are located, and they have no idea how to call for help. During a crisis, a person not knowing what's going on becomes very, very anxious. Multiply that with thousands and millions of people, it becomes chaotic. In an already chaotic situation, and this impedes disaster relief efforts. My product is called Anchor, your information network for when disaster strikes. It has multiple parts. First, it's an object that carries a wireless network where then residents are able to connect and communicate with city agencies. The object. It's self-sufficient with its very own solar panel. Inside, it will have a router and a backup battery. And then I created a mobile website, 2 variations, an emergency variation and a non-emergency. I want to install these objects on a lamppost because in my research I found out that these are one of the things that are still standing after a disaster. And I created a responsive mobile website that can be accessed in whatever device you have right now, iOS, Android. The lampposts around the city will be able to carry and spread the network. So let's think about a scenario. We all get this alert. This is a default emergency system in all of our smartphones. It's similar to the Amber Alert that comes with a very, very loud beep. So you get this alert, and it says there's something bad coming your way. But in case of a blackout, look for the ping and connect with Anchor. So one day you're sitting at home, and this is what New York, your neighborhood, looks like. And if you were in New York during Sandy, this is exactly what New York looked like during Sandy. Then you see an illumination on certain lampposts. Anchor is not part of the existing grid, so it's not going to be affected by a blackout. And this on and off illumination actually represents our breathing pattern to actually calm anxious people down. Then you will go to your Wi-Fi settings and connect to Anchor. And immediately you will get a page that says that this is a public service and we are only going to ask for your location. In the home page, you're able to call 911, or depending on what other situation you're in, you're able to communicate that fairly quickly. You get to see which city agencies are currently online. Updates posted by city agencies and disaster relief efforts. And depending on where you are, you get to see nearest shelters, streets to avoid, and subway statuses. So in this scenario, you do not have power. And after you press I do not have power, it will straight away take you to the Con Edison chat. and you'll actually get acknowledgement from them, and they ask for a location. You can do all of this within the anchor.guide, and hopefully we'll get a faster response time. I also want to mention that city grids are not instrumented, meaning Con Edison has no idea when there's a blackout happening unless you let them know. When I took this picture with my thesis advisor, it was a sunny day, and I was hoping that today would represent this day, but it is sunny, no emergencies happening today, fingers crossed, but Anchor is always going to be on, majority of the time, on a non-emergency. In a non-emergency, Anchor will help you prepare before a disaster strikes, will educate you about climate change, and also show you what disaster that happened in your city. In case, since we are in New York, Sandy was the biggest thing that happened to us. To help you make a plan, store emergency cash, have a go bag, which is basically a backpack that packs your basic necessities like toiletries, copies of your important documents, and local resources. I really wish I had something like this during Katrina, because I know what uncertainty feels like. And I wish I had some more prepared when I was here during Sandy. Anchor is going to help you prepare before a disaster strikes. It's also a really great reminder that something bad is going to happen, and don't take things for granted. But Anchor is also a service in case that bad thing does happen, it will be always reliable. Thank you.